Well, masturbation is just like telling someone. Many times people say, well, just get out of it. I mean, come off it. I mean, just stop it. It's bad. It's more than that. It's like saying someone who is depressed, saying, well, just be happy. No, it doesn't happen like that. Yeah. A lot of things have to happen. In fact, clinical steps have to be taken. Practical steps have to be taken.
Yes.
You know? For instance, one of the things that needs to be understood is that there's a drive for sex, and it's ingrained in the genetic and chemical fabric of the brain. Okay, and that's been medically proven. And so we need to be able to say, how do I control my drive for sex? When I am tempted, how do I deal with it so that I don't fall prey and destroy the good things that actually I should reap out of life?
For me, what I really want to know is, what is the driving force behind the sexual addictions? Can you give us an overview of what's informing the sexual addiction? That's what I want to know.
Let me talk about it from the point of view of masturbation.
Okay.
Because sexual addiction signs are masturbation,
Usually,
pornography,
yes.
having affairs, visiting prostitutes.
Okay.
Well, masturbation is very compulsive. Once you get into it, and you'll hardly be able to come out of it.
Right.
Okay. And so it's so pressuring, and that's why a lot of people don't know how to go out of it. Okay. But they don't like it. Okay. Even though it appears as if it gives you some form of pleasure, but it's something people don't want to disclose of. People don't want to talk about
proud of it.
Yes, because they're not proud. And I feel that whatever it is you're not proud of publicly, that means you're ashamed of it. That means that you may feel, well, I think it doesn't conform to what public to expectations of the generality of people.
Yes.
Okay. Well, and anyway, people matter anyway. So whatever it is that doesn't conform to the acceptable or whatever, we try to look at it and try to change it. But I think that the main reason for the menaces, are majorly a lot of silence, or what I call the endorsement of the mainstream media. Okay. Whenever there's an epidemic, now there's a bit of epidemic right now in the part of Nigeria.
Yeah.
And the media is broadcasting, the media is talking about it. Because they feel that if we don't blow this thing up, it's going to kill people. Look at this xenophobia happening in South Africa. They're actually showing gory pictures, graphic pictures of people being massacred and being burnt alive. That means anything that the media endorse, it
generally
generates this discussion.
Yes.
But the media is silent on that. Well, probably it's born out of the fact that people are ashamed, or they don't want to make people feel withdrawn or whatever. But I think the media endorses it.
Yes.
Anyway, even when we talk about the internet porns, the medium, movies created. Some people post for the movies, for those soft movies.
That's some people's careers.
People are making a career out of it.
Yeah.
So it's a complete industry. So I guess that might be one of the reasons why the media is telling about it. But it's not helping much because people are suffering. I don't know. I mean, you belong to a younger generation than myself, but I think that. But as at that time, way back in my time, I remember that people are not really excited to talk about it. I don't know about now. Maybe everything has changed.
Some people.
Your worlds.
Now, some people in some societies, usually the Western societies, are a bit more open to talking about it.
Okay.
Whether negatively or positively, people are more open to talking about it. But especially if there's any kind of conservative nature or within family settings, people don't like to talk about it.
So people are silent about it.
There's still that silence, and there's still that withdrawn nature to discuss it.
Wow.
Yeah. Some families even condone it, but still won't talk about it.
Another thing is failure of government.
Okay.
I think government is not is looking the other way from it because they don't know what to do. I think it's because they don't know what to do about it. For instance, the statistics you gave about the porn sites, the big industry, there are no sanctions, and government is not even saying anything about it because they feel, well, it's a battle we cannot win. Maybe they are right. Maybe because human government cannot actually solve human problems. Only there's a divine government. I guess that's why I'm very proud to be a pastor. There's a divine government that can actually rule over things and then actually help people and overcome a lot of these things. Another thing I saw, is the issue of breakdown in moral values. Okay? The world has so changed. The world continues to get worse and worse, but I can tell you that it's worse now than it was, 30 years ago when I was talking about your age. So there's a continual decline in moral values. And then, of course, I cannot but talk about this satanic agenda. Now, don't blame me. I believe, okay, that things just don't happen.
Right.
That there are forces that make it happen. Either the force of good or the force of bad. And if you don't believe that, then I don't know what you believe. All right? Because things just don't happen. There's a realm that controls the physical realm. And so there's a whole lot of things that are taking place right now. People are losing capacity to overcome addictions. They're losing self-control. And that's majorly because there's an oppression from the power of hell, what we call demonic oppression, or what we call an agenda of Satan, to continue to get people to persist in that addiction until sometimes they commit suicide, or they just get, there was a case, it's saddening. A couple of people that come to meet me, there was a particular one who's been masturbating, and a young guy, and he was talking to me, and I said, how did you get into it? Because I wanted to know. He said, well, I just started seeing pornographic movies, and I started trying to watch them all by myself. I'll make sure that my dad had gone to work and my siblings were not at home, and then I would just watch them. And then it was bit by bit, and then I got hooked on it. And by the time he was talking to me, it was a shadow of himself. He had stopped school altogether. He was spending a lot of money buying pornographic films. He couldn't spend a day without watching pornography movies. Right. And physically speaking, he was already becoming retarded. He was actually smelly. So which means that there's something about this thing that actually decimates you and erodes your persona and actually tears you apart. Wow. So from my experience, okay, as a father, as a minister, as a counselor, and as a human being, I've seen that this thing doesn't mean well. Right. And the only person or the only spirit behind it is that assists to destroy people's life is the devil. So I believe that there's a satanic agenda about it. I don't know what you feel about it.
What I want to ask is, it's, even among Christians, some other sectors and some other religions are not so they don't care too much about it. But for Christians in general, there's this notion that Christians don't condone masturbation and other sexual addictions. But there's a claim, and I want to know if you think this is true, that because in the Bible you have do not steal, do not kill. That's out there, it's obvious. But because there's nothing that addresses it head on,
do not masturbate.
You don't have that. Because there's nothing that addresses it head on. That's what causes the silence. That's why people because it doesn't actually.
And people do well with rules anyway.
Yeah.
Do not.
Okay. Yes, we will not. But once there's no do not, we will.
Well, I think it might be helpful to let's track the issue. Let me look at again the issue of masturbation. Okay. People who have gone through or who have been victims of masturbation or who have practiced masturbation, if they're going to be sincere with themselves, look at the lady in her analysis, in her narrative. She said she became ashamed. Right. She couldn't publicly let people know. Right. She did it under the cover of the dark. She did it in her room,
a hidden place,
which means that she feels ashamed of it. Now, I think that, in all honesty, people feel ashamed that they can't do without fiddling with themselves. Well, let's look at that.
Right.
I cannot control fiddling with myself. And one of the things that, again, I will take you back to the narrative, was she was talking about having to masturbate like 6 times a day.
Wow.
Now, this has to do with orgasms, ejaculations, and all. So you can imagine that a person doing that to himself or to herself. I have not been, I've never masturbated, but even for those who have, I think they feel it's not how they should live. Okay, but I think that they're struggling with it because sexuality is one of the things that we struggle with as humans. Okay, but the level at which we are able to overcome it is different for one another.
Oh yeah.
Okay, look at I talk about people being targeted or people being tempted. As a married man, I get tempted. Okay, and for all I care, if I'm not careful, I'll stumble into it. So sexuality is what makes us humans. But we need to be able to know how to deal with the sexuality and how to take control of our sexuality.
Yes.
So, Present Truth with BeulahToks comes your way next episode. Oyinamola and I would like to say, remember that
people matter.